a few reflections on this session in the broader context of the summit itself. First of all, with respect to the promotion of climate resilience, I think that the real genius of Marcelo and Ram has been to develop a novel theory of change, which they've knit into the structure of the entire summit. And as we've seen and heard, the centerpiece of their theory of change is the alignment and cooperation of a multiplicity of stakeholders, ranging from natural and social scientists to the private sector, to political leaders, civil society, faith leaders, and other channels of influence. And I'll say more about that in a moment. I'd also like to note a key premise of the summit in general, and this session in particular, and that is that climate change poses a huge threat to human health in terms of both excess morbidity and mortality. Based on common sense, as referred to a few times, and also on the evidence and reflections we've heard, I would describe that premise as pretty much beyond doubt, as something that is akin to a no-brainer. To my mind, though, a fundamental but perhaps less obvious takeaway from this session is the fact that the impact of climate change on human health is being and can be further and more precisely conceptualized, modeled, measured, and monetized. And as we've just heard in this session, and especially from Madalena, doing that will appreciably increase the magnitude of our estimates of the cost of climate change, which will in turn increase appreciably the magnitude of the estimated benefits of progressing to climate resilience. So what we're talking about here in this session represents a giant step forward in the direction of developing other evidence-based policies, or the evidence-based policies that will populate the robust and integrated portfolio of responses that we need to address climate change. It's also a step in the direction of engaging another crucial group of stakeholders that are not heavily represented here, namely ministers of finance and planning and their counterparts at different levels of government. And I would urge Marcelo and Ram to consider adding such individuals to the invite list for the next summit. Let me make one further point and then I'll stop. With due respect to the judges and the attorneys that are or were present, I would actually mention here a lesson taught to first-year law students throughout the world. And the lesson says, if you've got the facts, then argue the facts. If you don't have the facts, then argue the law. And if you don't have the facts or the law, then just argue. And the point here is that having the facts is typically the first best approach to making your case. And the good news surfacing from this session, and especially I think emphasized with the science at the end, is that the facts are very much within reach. The facts about the health impacts of climate change and what to do about it. And in that vein, I'd like to express my hope that one outcome of this session will be to galvanize further efforts to inform a comprehensive and rigorous understanding of the full health costs of climate change. Conveniently and simultaneously, these happen to also be the broad-based health benefits of climate resilience. I understand that it's just a piece of the investment case for addressing climate change, but I think it's reasonable to expect that it will be reliable, a decisive piece of that investment case. Let me stop there. Thank you, Jeremy.